How you doing, people? Okay, today I just wanted to let you in on a big secret of mine. So this is some training that I used to do back in the day, which didn't take very long, but the fitness benefits I got from it were incredible. So this is my top secret fitness advice. Now, I'm actually not expecting anyone to actually do this, because you'll probably see the state of me after I've done it. But if you do it, the fitness benefits for whatever sport or activity you do will be huge. If you're a professional athlete, if you just do it in your spare time, competitive in any way, this session just gives huge fitness benefits. Now, I've just come back from a run. I'll explain the principle of it in the commentary, but this that I always do after I've come back from a run. I call the session 24 and 44. Basically, it's just 24 burpees with the heel to backside jump, no push-up, and then straight into 44 squat jumps. It'll take about 2 minutes. I have a couple of minutes rest, and then I have to do it again. So it's a total of 4 minutes work in a 6-minute period. Okay, let's get it done. So I can already hear you saying, yeah, burpees and squat jumps, done them a million times. What is so special about that? Well, my friends, there is a specific scientific reason why this is so beneficial and so much tougher than normal when performed after a run. Now, the reason that this is so good is that when you go for a run, on this occasion I'd done about 30 minutes worth, a couple of nice hills in there, a bit of a sprint finish at the end. So when you go for a run, you're mainly using your quadriceps at the beginning of your stride when your foot hits the ground, and then as your body moves forward, the effort sort of shifts into your gastrocnemius muscles, the upper back of your calf, the lower part being the soleus. You do also use the hamstrings. The extent of that will be determined by how fast you're moving, really. But most runners are quad dominant in their technique, meaning they compensate by shifting more of the work from their hamstrings and their glutes to the quads. Anyway, running is a chronic type of stress. In other words, it's moderately difficult for a long period of time, whereas resistance training is acute stress. In other words, very difficult for a short period of time. So the body responds to the chronic stress of running by making the muscles more aerobically fit, better able to receive oxygen and run longer, which is of course good. But the body responds to the acute stress of heavy quadricep exercises by making the muscles stronger. Okay, so here's the punchline. When you combine that chronic type of stress, the moderate, longer lasting type of stress, with the acute, high resistance but shorter lived type of training stress, the muscle is suddenly worked in an entirely different way, and it's going to have to adapt. So you're getting both types of training stress in the same session, as long as it's done within, I would say, about 10 minutes after the run. Now, this transition is very similar to what triathletes experience when they have to switch from cycling to running. In other words, using the muscles in one way for cycling to then have to use them differently for running. Several years ago, I had the pleasure of working with a guy called Joe Beer on a product I was developing, who is one of the UK's leading multi-sport coaches. Tons of experience in training world-class Ironman athletes, including the UK's first Ironman winner, Matt Belfield, amongst many other elite triathletes. And one type of session Joe used to create was a transition workout where you would go hard on a bike for a period of time, then jump immediately onto the running machine for a period of time, then back on the bike, then back on the runner, so as to sort of acclimatise yourself to that transition, switching from one to the other. In the world of triathlon, these were known as brick sessions, where you perform 2 disciplines back to back with no rest. And triathletes have to train for this transition to avoid a big drop off in performance once they hit the run. A study by Millet and Vlek showed that energy expenditure for triathlon running can be up to 11.5% higher than running alone, due to the bike section of the race, causing glycogen store depletion, general muscle fatigue, dehydration, decreased stroke volume, and heightened core body temperature. So effectively what we're doing here is creating a brick session with the transition from one type of exercise to another. So the upshot of this is that when you transition from one type of training, like the run, with muscles working with the chronic stress, changing to the burpees and squat jumps with the acute stress, the muscle is really tested and forced to adapt in a way which not only gives tremendous body weight, power and fitness, but also really pushes the anaerobic threshold up with this format because it's a 2-minute effort, not just a 15-second effort, for example. Whenever I did this session in the past, I would always feel fit and strong in the legs in the few days afterwards. Of course, it doesn't last forever, so I always used to try and do this at least once a week. So it's an interesting one, this transition type of training. I always found it best going from a run to then these power exercises, the burpees and the squat jumps. As you can see, the session is not pretty, but it's worth it. Okay, got an interesting one on the next session. This particular type of burpees, I went pretty much to failure, I think, on the style that I was trying out. Anyway, see you in the next one.